G'day everyone, T-Nick back here in Transport Fever. Last week we wrapped up the final mission of the American campaign, Space Race. Now I haven't actually recorded that yet, so that's why it still appears down in the continue tab here, but by gosh, what an episode, wasn't it? There was everything. There was dragons, there were beautiful women, there was copious amounts of... You know what, whatever. I'm sure it was enjoyable, and I thank you for joining me again this week. Joining me again this week for what is going to be a new series of Transport Fever where we will be playing a free game. That's right, we're going to be taking on a randomized map. So we are going to show off the settings here. Obviously it's going to be a large map. We've gone with medium terrain, so we get a few grades there. Starting in 1850 obviously to experience the full gambit of the game. We're going with easy because you can win. The game encourages you, because medium, you will be challenged, and hard, you will go bankrupt. Now, I'm not particularly good at this game, as you can probably tell, so thanks for sticking around regardless. You can watch me slowly improve or manage to not win on easy. How do you win this game anyway? But yeah, so like to talk, we've got a few mods going on here. We'll talk about this one here, time progression 2 times slower. It's a script mod by FX2K, which basically slows down the passage of time in the overworld, so the calendar ticking along by about, I guess, half. It's twice as slow as it would be normally. I just think this allows you plenty of time to make a bit of money, smell the roses, enjoy watching your trains chuff around without having to constantly be on the go. I've also got the 4 times slower mod that I like to use in my personal games. I'll keep it to 2 times slower for this one, just so the series doesn't drag out too much. Most of these other mods are just different trains and things, you know. So the only ones I've really left off are the no costs, the sort of the cheat mods, and yeah, the no India mod. But yeah, those are the mods. We've gone with an American style map here, and we will randomize a seed. And we will get started, and I will see you in the game. Right, we're in the game here. Welcome to our map here. We are looking at Boston. I will pause time so we don't waste too much time dicking around, because boy do I like to talk. Now, when I start a new game of Transport Fever, I like to look for one of 3 industry chains, that being stone to construction materials, which will henceforth be called bricks, because it's just a lot easier to roll off the tongue. Stone to bricks, bricks to town. Also look for oil to fuel, fuel to town, or cattle to food processing factory, and then food to town. Now, as you can see from this initial view, we've got a couple of those on screen already, conveniently enough. We've got oil to fuel, fuel to town. We've also got cattle to food processing, food to town. And we had a quarry somewhere around here that I've now managed to lose sight of. There it is. I can't actually see any food processing. Well, you wouldn't turn stone into food, that'd be stupid. I can't actually see a brickworks around here though, so yeah, that one's probably not on the cards. So look, we'll probably end up starting in Boston, but let's just have a bit of a squizzy around and see what our other options are. A couple of wells up in Gainesville, refinery there. We do have brickworks here, but no stone within spitting distance. Another refinery, brickworks up here, but I can't really see anything simple about that. Brickworks and a quarry up in Midland. We got a couple of food processing factories over here, but no farms. Oh, this is a good map to start with. We're doing well. This is going to be a really long-lived series, everyone. We're gonna go for a long time. Is that town called Piano? Plano. Okay, well that's ironic because I'm not going to be planoing very much. I'm just going to be flying by the seat of my pants, and I can't fly either. Now, when looking for starting industries, I generally prioritize oil to fuel, fuel to town, or cattle to food processing and food processing to town, for the simple reason is it saves on rolling stock. Obviously, we can use tank wagons for this route entirely, and if we were to generate this route here, we would just be using the box cars. Look, you can transport grain further into the piece, but at the start, it's not a recipe for instant profit success, and we need profit to drive our expansion options. So for that reason, I'm looking at Boston as a sort of a starting point here. It's a simple matter to run oil up to the refinery and then just stop off in town at the industrial area, which looks like it's on the southeast western end of town. I don't know, without a map and a compass, I got no idea where we're going. Yeah, so operating on the KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid, we will start off with a route running oil down here. Let's have a bit of a squizzy at our contours. Okay, so it looks like there's either a dip or a mountain. I'm thinking a dip. It doesn't look too big. So it should be a simple matter to rail the oil up here, turn it into fuel and drop it off in town. But even though you came to hear me talk, you also came to watch me play Transport Fever. So we will start off by smashing down a terminal station because, well, it's got nowhere else to go really. So we'll try and get that in a reasonable slope there without being too violent. Yeah, so if we drop it there, that doesn't seem too bad, and we'll just squidgy up a bit of road. Too much curvature, my ass. Well, I don't know about my ass having too much curvature. That's a matter for a whole nother discussion. If you'd like to comment on my ass, please go... No, I'm just kidding. So we will start by setting up some track, and we will stop playing something stupid. Stop playing something stupid? Saying something stupid. Now, it is very tempting to build a ridiculously high viaduct right across town. As cool as that looks, it will literally burn all of our starting capital. So we'll start off with a bit of a grade there. That's not ideal. We'll pop a station down in town for when we want to come through town to drop off our fuel. That's going to require boshing out a factory type building. We don't want to do that. So I will drop that down there and just connect him up with a bit of a street connection. That's a small street. Go medium, because quote-unquote future-proof, blah, 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 blah. So initially we will be railing the oil as a train, as a block train of oil. Oh, look at this. We're keeping the tracks nice and close to the ground. No unnecessary embankments. I'm looking at you. We've got a bit of a road in the way. We'll just deal with that. Okay, you can just deal. We'll reconnect it now. See, look, too much slope. Okay, we'll reconnect it. Okay, too much slope. Well, it's a nice idea. We'll just do it manually, won't we? There we go. That was harder than it needed to be. I just realised I still have to connect the siding up too, which will involve some sort of fancy schmancy level crossing action. Do we have any oil off in this direction, or any reason we would want to continue the line? Oh, we do have a chemical plant over here which turns oil into plastic. That might be relevant further down the line. Now, the reason I ask that is it will depend on whether we build a dead-end station or a through station. I'm going to future-proof this one, put in a slightly larger through station than we really need initially, and we'll just connect that up with a nice little intersection well within the catchment area. Now, this road here is just going to annoy me, so it can go away, and we'll connect that up. That seems like a weird way to connect. It's on a bit of a curve, bit of an angle. I think we can make that better. Might slow our trains down, but let's face it, it's 1850. Our trains aren't going to really care about a bit of curvature. They like the curves. Real tracks have curves. Yeah, that's right. I'm saying it now. You can hold me to it. Later, when I'm building high-speed tracks, you can be like, where are the curves, man? I thought you said real tracks had curves, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we want to connect up this siding here. Ooh, that's a bit of a grade. Thankfully, the loaded train will be running down the grade. I know I just rebuilt that road and I've smashed it aside again. Just so callous of me. I'll throw in a 60-odd K turn out there. That could be worse. Could be better. Could be worse. We'll give the town somewhere to grow to. And connect that up like that. Right, that's already pissed me off. Okay, well, you know what? The town is going to have to find a new way to connect up to that highway because I don't like what it's doing to my tracks. In fact, let's just, you know what, let's just go all out and try and bodge a bridge in over the top there. What's the bet? The game is going to be like, no, 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 ugh. And even then, no, no. Okay, well, we've already pissed off Boston, which is going to be our main sort of starting town, which is good because what's life without a bit of conflict? Can we connect you up? Nope. Yes. 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 Sort of. now we've bodged up this bit of track here. Okay. So when we don't get a train and we go bankrupt on easy mode, having not actually built anything beyond a bit of starting railway, this is the black box. You can remove this from the wreckage of my company. Tut and Judge. Yep, we are just going hard on with the bulldozer. Not hard on with a bulldozer. That'd be weird. We are just going all bulldozer all the time. Now, is that going to connect up smoothly? It is not. It is going to be janky as hell. Of course it is. Why would things go my way? Nothing ever goes my way in this game. Okay, it's a bit of a fun hump. If we connect you up like that, is that going to be ugly? You know what? That actually worked. Sort of. It's a bit of a kink there. And still got this stupid little hill down from the crossing. I hate level crossings. We are so replacing that with a bridge when finances become more liquid. But right now we have to be prudent with our money and only build a little bit of unnecessary shit. Unnecessary trackage. That's the word I was looking for. Not shit. We're not building shit. We're building quality trains and quality rail networks. So we'll just kick this line out in this direction because eventually it'll go that way, but for now we just want to smack down a depot. There we go. And we have our first railway line set up. It only took, what? I don't know, not even a third of our starting funds. So that's not too bad. So we're going to run a line from the oil well to the refinery, and then he's going to be taking fuel back into Boston's sort of industrial area. And as we are running an American scenario, get your grammar right, trains will be keeping to the right, so when we double track this, it'll be a simple matter to keep trains moving. And seriously, what is this? A bloody roller coaster? This is not Disney World. That is just, this road's going. No. You have disappointed me for the last time. You are gone. Just demolish it all. Get rid of it. We don't need it. We will just instead run a road all the way around the back, just in case. Oh, autosave is doing its thing. We'll just run a road all the way around the back, wasting further money, further time, and just connect that up like that. And it did not break our depot track. Good to see some miracles still exist. Now, where we have built a line, we will need to give it a name. It seems to be fairly Boston-centric. So we will call it, I guess, Crude Fuel Boston. So that way we can find it later when we want to see what our highest performing train is, because I'm fairly sure it will be a winner. Now, you'll see here we've got both the American and the European vehicles available. Look, it's a completely fictional world. Boston is not really located in the middle of a desert, I don't think. I don't know much about America. But as a transport company, I want to tender out to the various manufacturers and get the most appropriate train, truck, bus, whatever for my needs. Now, in this case, if they had added, I know it's impossible, but if they had added every single possible locomotive developed in the history of America, wouldn't need to do that because obviously we'd have a lot of choices. But obviously we've only got a very limited selection, so I just want to keep it fresh, keep it interesting, get a bit of variety in there. So we will be buying some locos second-hand maybe from Europe, running them on our network. Might get them from other places in the world. I can't remember what I've installed. I might install further mods down the track. Check that pun out. Down the track. Oh, shut up and build a train, I know. So we're going to go with the Baldwin six-wheeler, which is an American engine. And then instead of building this ridiculously modern, monstrous-looking tank car, we're going to build the European tank wagon. Now, I realise it holds less by 2. You know, it's not as good. But for short term, we're building a Pincy? Who's this Pincy? We're building a teeny tiny little engine. So we're going to just build teeny tiny little wagons. Now, let's have a look. What sort of capacity can we get on you? Yeah, 50, that'll do. And we will send you out on crude fuel. Crude fuel. Well, crude oil is fuel in crude form, I guess. And we will set him on his way. Now, it's probably time to unpause the game and watch our first train make its triumphant entrance. I cannot talk today. I should just give this up and go back to my day job. Which is what exactly? Never mind, start the train. The tweeting of birds is disturbed by what is really a wussy horn. Get rid of the contour lines. Oh, look at that mountain range in the background. Isn't it pretty? Nope, we're looking at the foreground. Look at this train. Magnificent little thing that it is. And its train of very odd-looking tank cars. I guess they're functional. And with that clever camera work, we have avoided watching the depot doors slam shut on our last wagon, which will soon be full of flammable material. So let's sort of scrape our way up alongside the train with some awesome camera work and sit back and enjoy the spectacle. This train is really slow. Nope, he's decided to have a bit of a stop. Having a rest. Well, that's managed to burn pretty much all of our starting capital, which is good. So as our train departs... Yeah, I know, right? I will move the game speed from normal to 4 times. And we will try and make some money. I won't subject you to watching that, and we will be back shortly to see what develops. Now, while we wait for the little train that could actually turn a profit, I'd like to talk about my plans for the sort of the region here. Now, Boston, being our starting town, will always have a special place in my heart. So this will be one of the termini, no, it's definitely termini, of our far-reaching fictional American network. So Boston, we will try and transport every possible freight into, so that includes goods, fuel, tools, machines, etc., etc., etc. Boston will be a massive city, have a massive transport network involved in it, and it will be a hub of our, whatever you call it, cross-American network. That'll do. That's a fancy-ass name. Not really. It'll do. It's a fine name. So otherwise, I like to develop towns up with a specific purpose in mind. So for example, Orange over here has easy access to a machine shop, which has an easy access to a steel mill, which has easy access to an iron ore mine, and I thought there was a coal mine around here somewhere, but there isn't, so, well, that puts paid to that idea. But Orange, I might say, develop as an industrial town or as a commercial town. And that's basically to give passengers in the region a destination to head towards. Look, I might decide to transport no freight to Orange at all and just focus on growing the residential area. Orange will then therefore be sending passengers out on our network to Boston to shop and work, or maybe up to San Bernardino to work, and maybe to Boston to shop. I don't know, but by giving people multiple destinations to choose from and giving them reasons to transit between the towns, I feel it actually helps get a better passenger network going. So obviously Boston will be one of our termini. Got it right that time. And look, you know what? Up in this end of the map, we might say target Columbus or Orlando or Laredo as another termini for our network. And then obviously from those termini we will have branching out lines to, say, Visalia or Midland or Fort Collins. Ooh, that's impressive. Or the Merino Valley, Austin, Gainesville. You know what I mean? We'll be trying to connect them up with main lines and then have branch lines and side lines and up lines and down lines and sideways lines and whatever you want to call them off to the different destinations. But it looks like our oil train has a full load of oil and he is off chuffing up towards the refinery. Doesn't seem to be struggling with the hill too much, down to 19 k's an hour. Oh, he's picking up speed despite the grade, and he's thrown it away again on that last little hump, but that's completely understandable, mate. I couldn't pull that much oil up a hill. Couldn't pull any oil up a hill if I tried. Don't have a container. So I have set him temporarily to full load here, just so he doesn't leave empty. There we go, there's our first profit of the game in. The refinery is now loaded up with oil. They have customers waiting down in Boston, and so he should start picking up fuel. Now that he's picking up fuel, I didn't mean to do that. Where is Boston branch on the... Yep, that's okay, that's the next station. I actually meant to just turn that back to not full load, just so he doesn't sit there waiting for the refinery to process every little bit of fuel. But yeah, I didn't want him to run empty, just so you could see how quickly the chain gets into motion. So he will now swing back down into Boston town here, to Boston branch, and unload fuel for these buildings here. Ta-da! Obviously that's not a big payoff because he wasn't carrying much. But this will then have the effect of apparently shrinking industrial land usage in Boston. I actually wanted to satisfy their need. Now I'm not sure if this is per month or... Oh, here we go, what's that say? No, that doesn't tell me anything I didn't already know. So I'm not sure if this is per month or per year, but either way we need to transport down 180 fuel to... There we go, we've transported 8. And land use has already increased. We're now up to 182. But basically, the more fuel we transport down, the more we fill these needs up. So bricks, machines, and fuel, or construction materials. The more we fill these needs up, the more demand there will be for industrial space, and we will see this area grow and expand. We will then expand this fuel siding. Maybe it'll start accepting more than fuel. It'll start accepting bricks from the nearby brickworks, of which I cannot see one on the horizon. That might be, we'll put that in the sort of long-term vision thing. And we can also transport in machines from a nearby machine shop, which there is one sort of over yonder. I believe there's nothing sort of in the local area though, which is okay because transporting cargo long distances is what I'm here for. There goes our oil train again, shuffling along quite happily. Look, we might even expand this to be a massive freight terminal and bring our commercial goods in here. Or we could put our commercial terminal sort of up here at this goods siding here, rail goods out to other cities and bring things in here and then just truck them into town. We'll see where we go with the game. We could go anywhere. It's a free map. We have literally no goal except to have fun and enjoy each other's company. And because I can't hear you talking, you're just going to have to listen to me yak the whole time. Don't see how that's different from any other conversation with me, really, if we're going to be honest. But yeah, you know what? That's fine. We'll just run with it. But so Boston, we want passenger connections eventually. That'll probably be one of the next things we work on because we want to bring workers in to work in Boston. We've got an increased demand for industrial area. Well, that's all good and well. We can build more factories, but who's going to work in them? So we can have a line coming out to Tucson. That's going to be quite an easy stretch. I mean, the land is pretty forgiving. We can also have a line swinging around here, following the contours to San Bernardino, round Orange. And who knows, from Tucson we can go to Gainesville, we can go to Columbia, San Bernardino, Columbia, Rockford, Nashville, Minneapolis. God, American town names are so hard to pronounce. Can't they have something simple like Wagga Wagga? Orange, we can go off to Ventura, Pet Detective. We have these options available to us. Obviously, Boston direct to Gainesville will be difficult because of this mountain range, so we will be going via Tucson through this convenient mountain pass here. And then from Gainesville, Austin, Sioux Falls, Fort Collins, we've got these lines that are just going to radiate across the network, across the landscape rather, in a network of spiderweb connectivity. We'll have branch lines between towns. We'll have this, that, and the other. We've got big plans, and that all starts with you. Train 1. I think that sounds better. The original train. Loco number 1. And he is already far outstripping... production is far outstripping our transport capacity. So it is time to expand our first route already. So we're going to have to put in a passing loop down here somewhere. We're going to throw in some signals. We can keep a single platform up here though. Now, because we've already got pretty much double track from here up, it will be a simple matter to extend that double track up here to the station. Hopefully these points won't be too ugly. Not perfect, but they'll do. So we can extend the double track, so it'll be a simple child play matter to run an extra train on there. With that connected up, we can get rid of that now ugly cross track. We've got a bit of a hole in the ballast there. We'll get the track gangs onto that. We've still got an ugly sort of hump here. I don't care for that. I'm going to just once again start again. You know what? This is going to be a theme. There's going to be a lot of me being very unhappy with how things are going, and I'm going to get pooey and demolish things. Now, the way I built this crossing is conductive to shit track laying. Yeah, see, look at that. That's not great. That's not ideal. No, you know what? More demolishing of things. Not happy. Keep it going. Yeah, I know we've buggered things up. It's a thing I'm going to do a lot of. Right, okay. Let's rebuild that road for the 6th time. We should get a running counter going here. We'll try and connect you up across there like that. That's not too... Construction not possible. It's pretty much flat ground. Oh, why would you... See, folks, this game just hates me. You're going to spend most of this series watching me build something only to knock it down and start again because I'm unhappy with how the track is laid. Now, see, that's still shit. And, yeah, it's just a big-ass hump in the landscape, but you know what? We're sort of limited on budget, so we're going to have to deal with it. Let's just get rid of all of this extraneous track here and try and connect this up so that it's not ugly. Have we succeeded? Seriously, the sooner we get that bridge in, the happier I'm going to be. You will see me literally dancing in the street. You may not literally see it because you will not be here to see the dancing in the street, but rest assured it will happen. There will be dancing. In fact, maybe not in the street. That actually seems kind of dangerous in hindsight, and I don't want to be a bad role model to the young viewers out there. So dancing in the living room, let's say. Just, you know, actually just make sure to move the furniture aside so you don't injure yourself or break anything, because, you know, okay, metaphorical dancing. I'll just sit in the chair and just sort of pretend I'm dancing. I'll just be like, yeah, I'm really happy. Okay, well, that's getting us off topic. Let's throw some signals down. Let's unpause the game, because hopefully, yep, everything is happy. Happy with my wanton destruction. I'll just throw a couple down there. Yeah, a couple down there, why not? I'll chuck a couple down at this level crossing here to avoid people queuing up across the level crossing. We will put them on either side. Yeah, that should facilitate the running of numerous trains, which we cannot afford yet. So we'll wait for you to make another trip. How you doing? 15 k's now. You really do not like that grade there, do you? And I don't blame you. But over time we'll get more modern trains. 205 grand. I don't think that's going to pay for another train, but look at that. He's nearly running with a full load of fuel. This is what we wanted to see straight off the bat. 172 grand. I can afford that. Can't remember how many tank cars we built. I just know he had a capacity of 50. Not enough money. Well, that's easy fixed. We will just approach the bank, hat in hand, and get some more on our loan. Get some more on our loan again. And get our second train going now, 45 and 50, and off you shall go. Now, completely accidentally, I picked the optimal time to borrow money, which is in January, because as you can see, we've already paid the loan interest on our loan of 3 million. Now, loans in this game are not something to be sniffed at, like 30 grand, considering our profit last year was, what are we looking at? Income, 666 grand. Okay, yes, it's not a big chunk of our income, but our running costs are also, you know, a third of that. So, you know, realistically, we want to be making as much money as possible in the early game. So loan interest is dead money. So over the year, I will try and pay down the loan as much as I can before December. And then start of the year, crank it up, all bets are off. Let's just spend money like it's going out of fashion. Just spend. Money. Gold plate, everything. Until we get to sort of late November, then we have a bit of a panic because we're going to have to pay the bill. You know, our chickens will be coming home to roost. Don't know why we let our chickens out to begin with. There are foxes, there are wild cats out there. It's a bad idea. Chickens, stay in the coop. And off goes the original train. And we will call you, I guess, the Imitator. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to spell particularly well. I don't know if that's how you spell imitator. Probably not. I don't think I'll be naming all of my trains, but just at the start, I'm a little bored, so we'll give them all stupid names. And see how we're going up here. 110 oil, you bloody ripper. We're going to need a third train before long. The only risk about building too many trains on this one route early in the game is that we saturate Boston with fuel. See, he's already up to 52% of his demand. So if we saturate the demand, 98 out of 194, yes, if we saturate the demand too much, this refinery will have no customers, so he will stop producing fuel to be transported. Now, if he stops selling fuel, he's not going to need any oil. So he will somehow get word out to this oil well, who will stop pumping oil out of the ground for us to transport, and we will just be running a couple of empty trains back and forth, and our massive profit will turn into a loss-making exercise as our trains literally hemorrhage money. So for that reason, probably before we build our passenger network, we'll be looking for a second destination for our fuel. We've got a couple of options here. We can transport the fuel up to Tucson, we can transport it to San Bernardino, we can transport it to Orange. Not sure which one I'll go yet. I'll have to have a bit of a think about that. Look, just at this stage of the game, without actually thinking about it too much, I'm thinking Tucson. I said think way too many times there. Tucson is a good option because, as you can see, we've got a couple more oil wells up here around Gainesville. We've also got another refinery up in Columbia. We could also run it out to San Bernardino because, as well as fuel, we can be railing oil up there to turn into plastic. Now that's a far later in the game sort of gambit, for want of a better term, because plastic we need to combine with other materials. So if we go to a machine shop, we can combine plastic and steel to make machines, and if we go to a factory, here's one we prepared earlier, we need to combine plastic with planks, and planks obviously are produced at a sawmill from logs. And isn't it convenient that everything is all right there? So maybe it won't be so late game after all, because we could transport oil to the chemical plant. Now that would be another customer for our refinery, which would ensure oil production. We can then bring the oil back down along the existing route and out to this factory here. Sorry, not the oil, the plastic. Obviously we'd need separate rolling stock for the plastic, but we could bring the plastic out to the factory. We could then combine that with planks that we would make on this sort of a route here. So yeah, we've got some options in regards to Boston, because then the goods can be trucked into Boston and boost the commercial district. Another option, of course, to boost the commercial district is cattle down to the food processing factory, and then we can bring the resulting food into Boston. We can also take the food back out on this line into Tucson. So maybe short term, we have our passenger line Boston to Tucson, and with the food coming into Tucson, that'll create shopping here, industrial in Boston, and we'll have people commuting back and forth to work or shop respectively. So yeah, that's sort of where we're starting here. Yeah, obviously we're going to have a massive passenger terminal down here to connect up our different towns, our different destinations. We'll probably end up with a massive freight hub. I mean, I just realized we've got another factory down here, which might be more convenient than this one. That'll obviously get in the way of our inevitable passenger line, and it'll also provide bonuses for further transport if we ship the goods out to other towns. So I think we're sitting in a pretty good position. We're sitting in a pretty good position here in Boston. I think it's a good place to start. Our two trains are making decent money. The line is already up to $500,000. You're carrying a full load of fuel down to Boston. And we'll just make sure we're not overloading the town there. Yeah, 57%, that's not too bad. So we'll resist the urge to put a third train on to catch this remaining oil here, because we don't want to upset the apple cart too much. But I'm certainly thinking we could quite easily connect up plastic here and planks down through here without too much empty running, because obviously the plank train would be running empty back to the forest, and the plastic train would be the biggest loser because it would have to run empty all the way back to the chemical plant up near San Bernardino. But look, thank you for joining me, guys. Next time I think we will embark on our first sort of passenger route just to get that off the ground. We'll probably have to extend our loan. Stupid me, wasn't paying attention. See, I could have paid my loan down before January, didn't, so we've paid an extra $5,000 in interest there. But look, that'll do us for this week, so thank you for joining me. Until next time, chuck a like at the video if you enjoyed it. If you didn't, hit it anyway. What's it hurt? Doesn't cost you anything. If you didn't like it, hit a dislike, leave a comment, whatever you want. The world is your oyster. You can do whatever you want. But until then, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you all next time in Transport Fever. Bye.